Hello, welcome back to the third episode of Analysing Atalanta. I am Lee, or FM Analysis, as you may know me from Twitter. Thanks for checking out my series and my YouTube channel, I really appreciate it. Now, for episode 3, as I previously discussed, we are going to live com the away match with Juventus. Juventus are obviously one of the strongest teams in Europe and certainly the strongest team in Italy. And I always knew when I was starting this series and starting this save with Atalanta that at some point I would have to find a way to at least nullify the threat that Juventus pose, if not, manage to beat them, at least at this early stage. So I don't have an awful lot to catch you up on. Obviously, the last episode was the AC Milan game, which we won 3-0, 3-0 at home with a hat-trick from Alejandro Gomez, two of which were penalties, resulting in sending off of Felix Mexes, the Milan defender. We've come straight back for the next league game because it is our away game with Juventus. Now, I thought it would be quite interesting tactically. So let's just get into it and see if I've set something up. And I'm going to show you a part of what I do sometimes in terms of scouting opposition when it's a particularly strong opponent we're facing. But unfortunately, it's so early in the season, I don't have a lot of data to go on. So my subject size my sample size is very small. But I'm going to try and show you, and we'll see if it works. It may backfire badly, but let's just find out. Now, the first thing you might notice from the formation screen that we have in front of us here, this is the Juventus lineup for the match today. Instead of the 3-5-2 that I would normally associate with Max Allegri's Juventus, they're lining up in a narrow 4-3-1-2 system. Obviously, the 3-5-2 is very difficult for me to play against. I always struggle to find a way through, to be honest, so I'm not that unhappy with the 4-3-1-2, especially because it doesn't appear that Paulo Diabla, the Argentinian striker, is playing. Instead, we're facing Mario Mandzukic and Simone Zaza up front. But let's just have a quick look. This is something that I'll do from time to time. I've gone back into Juventus' first game of the season, which was a 4-1 victory over Carpi. Carpi are obviously one of the weakest teams in the league, so it's not a huge surprise. But you can see here 2 goals for Zaza, 1 for Mandzukic and 1 for Hernanes. Now, I dipped in a little bit to the analysis for the players. And I'll just show you quickly what I found as the match report's generating. I tend to do this to look for patterns of play in the opposition and for ways that they like to build up so that I can attempt to either nullify or take advantage of any weaknesses that I see. So what I found, if we click on Stefan Lichtsteiner first, the right back, if you look at his passes, and all that we're looking at the moment are key passes. So key passes there, and we will also look at his movement. Movement gives you dribbles. I'm interested in dribbles. So there we are for Lichtsteiner. Now let's do the same thing for the left back, Alex Sandro. His passes. Now, 3 key passes. And we're also going to look at his movement. So, dribbles. There we are. Now, straight away from this graphic, you can see that there's a clear bias from Juventus to attack down the right-hand side. Now, this bias was borne out. I also watched the highlights of the goals for the 4-1 victory. All 4 goals were set up either from the right flank or from the right half space here. So there's obviously a clear bias to Juventus building up in this area of the pitch, and that's something that we're going to look to build a trap to nullify in our system. Ideally, I would have pressing triggers and pressing traps that would enable us to stop Lichtsteiner from getting the ball in dangerous situations and build and play. But as we all know, the Football Manager match engine hasn't yet incorporated pressing traps and triggers. So I've tried to build one myself. Let's have a look. Here's the system that we're going with today. Now straight away, this is the area that we're most concerned with in terms of Lichtsteiner and the build-up play down that side. We have dropped our winger back, our inside forward who was on this side, has dropped back to be a winger on support duty. Brivio, who was a wing back, is now a full back on defend duty, and Martin de Roon, who was our centre midfielder on defend, has dropped back to make an asymmetric tactic, and he's now an anchor man on defend. What we're looking to do as Lichtsteiner advances down this side. I'm hoping it will be confronted by the left back Brivio. Brivio will be set to show Lichtsteiner onto his weaker foot, which should see him cutting inside onto his left, and I'm hoping that he runs straight into the anchorman Derun, and that we are then in a position to counter-attack and take advantage of the space created. The other changes I've made are to change Conte. The inverted wing back is gone for this game, so he's just a full back support, and Tulisi is an inside forward support. I've also altered slightly the playing instructions for my advanced playmaker. He is getting further forward for this game. He's roaming from position and he's moving into channels. What I'm hoping to see is Gomez moving into this area when we don't have the ball or when we're transitioning quickly from defence to attack. So Lichtsteiner loses the ball in this area, Gomez should move across into this area, hopefully to receive a pass and then to link in with the rest of the team. The other change that's been made is the introduction of Maurizio Pinilla as the advanced striker instead of a false nine for today. I've gone for his experience instead of Monachello purely because we're playing against Juventus, obviously a very strong back line, and Monachello will give us some pace off the bench later on in the game if they do start to get tired. Now, this is a very, very extreme example. Now, this isn't something that I would do on a game-to-game basis. It's not. I don't change this much for each match. I just think that would be counterproductive. But this is something that I've played with a little bit before, and I've had mixed results. And I thought it would be quite fun to see if we could make it work, so you guys could all see the different options that you have just by being a little bit creative tactically. So let's see how the match goes. So submit team, we're happy with that. I haven't changed any other instructions, nothing else has changed other than individual instructions. I'm not entirely sure if this is actually going to work, so it'll be an interesting experiment for all of us. Just while my team is warming up, apparently the system has just been a little bit slow today. Here we are. As you can see, we're actually in 4th place in the league, just behind Juventus. After that 4-1 win, we won 3-0. Very early in the season, obviously. I am going to spend some time later on in the series showing you some of the custom views that I use for different things and some of the benchmarking statistics that I use. But I just think that until I have 10 competitive league matches, the sample size is too low to really get any trends or any idea of who's good, who's bad, who's going to stay, who's going to go. So after that point, there will be a specific episode just built to basically show you all of that. Now, here we are, so it is a 4-3-1-2, the narrow system as we were expecting. Now in the bench, Quadrado is extremely dangerous should he come on. They also have Morata as a striking option. Diablo must be injured, I haven't actually checked because he's not even on the subs bench and you wouldn't leave a player like him out. Now as I've said before, my skin allows me to see opposition roles. So Lichtsteiner had fullback attack while Evra's fullback support. Marchisio's advanced playmaker support was Pogba as centre midfield support, so I would expect to see more attacks up on this side. But let's see if we are right. So what we're going to do, Lichtsteiner will be tight marked, he will be closed down, he will be shown onto his weaker foot. So will Evra. This is something I do in both fullbacks regardless. So hopefully the weaker foot will see Lichtsteiner be pushed in field where he'll run into Derun. That'll be the plan. So again, we're going to have a quick look at the passing stats for the centre halves, and Chiellini is the weakest passer, so we're going to do the same for Chiellini. In terms of the rest of the team, I'm happy just as things are at the moment. I'll keep an eye on things and we may go back in and change opposition instructions as we go. So my team talk, calmly, tell them to go on straight finish where they left off the last match. Everybody seems reasonably okay with that. I will go in and do a few assertive. I think there's more to come from you and I completely believe you've got what it takes. Quite often this just gives the team a little bit more of a boost. I don't know if it's actually effective, but it's something that I like to do. So now we're ready. Let's get the match started. Now I did have somebody mention the quality in the last video when the match engine was in process wasn't that great. So we're actually going to change down from 2D to 2D Classic and see if that makes any difference. So obviously we're playing the blue from left to right, Juventus are white from right to left as we kick off the match. So we're kicked off. Nothing will happen in the first highlight, or at least it doesn't usually. I have got a bit of a habit in my Ajax save that I'm blogging about that we do score early on, so quite often something can occur. Here we are, first minute, Conte with a throw in to Gomez on the right hand side. He's going to look to cross the ball in, Evra gets it away back to Conte, back in field, and that should be swept up by our anchor man. Diamanti on the left hand side to Brivio, the full back on defend. Toloi into Gagliardini. Gagliardini out to Talisi. Oh, Evra got in there first. Conte now. Conte long. Oh, Buffon, that was easy. Okay, so let's see shape from Juventus as they start to attack. Straight away here, look. Lichtsteiner. Look at the speed that he suddenly got up that flank. Whereas we can see that Evra, who's the closest fullback to Chiellini, is more or less held position. Well, Lichtsteiner is pushing right up here. This is where we expected him to go. And this is where Derun, I would have hoped, would be more in this area. But Brivio, our back four is keeping its shape. And Diamanti is kind of covering back in there. Actually, I forgot to do this. That wasn't very clever. So let's go in now. My inside forward, Talisi, is going to mark tighter, mark specific player, Giuseppe. My striker, Panila, is going to mark tighter, mark specific player, not Bonucci though, we're going to go with Chiellini. Remember, Chiellini has the weakest passing, he's still a good passer, but he's no Bonucci. So we're going to look to fluster him. We're going to choose Diamanti, will mark tighter, mark specific player, and you will push on to Lichtsteiner. Now, let's see what happens, let's see if that makes any change to our shape and transition. Here Juventus come now. Conte cut that out very easily. Again, an interception from Conte, showing how promising he is in terms of positioning, anticipation. Exactly what I want from my fullbacks. Gagliardini to Gomez, to Lisi. Conte should cross now. Pinilla's got the ball inside the box. Oh, deflected wide. It's a good start so far from Atalanta. And now we've got a corner kick. Gomez with the corner, flicks it in, Lichtsteiner at the front post. That was far too easy for them to clear away. And now here we are again, as they start to transition. Lichtsteiner's already there. So as you can see, he has got full freedom to move up there, move into advanced positions and to cause us problems. He's actually been flanked there by Hernandez, which is quite odd. So Brivio's received the ball, tackled though. Here we come. Diamanti on the left hand side into Gomez. Gomez gets it back to Brivio. We just look to keep possession a little bit. Toloi out to Brivio into Derun. Gomez now play's been stretched a little bit and we've got an option to attack down the right. He should flick out. Oh, he's gone in field. It's a bad decision. So Mandzukic. We're not concerned with Mandzukic in that area, but as he's advancing now, Pereira to Lichtsteiner, here's where the problem is. And what we should have already seen, Brivio should be across there, and Derun should be back in this area, so now we're at a real disadvantage, especially with Zaza in the middle. Lichtsteiner hits the byline, pull back Zaza, good save, Sportiello. Less than 5 minutes gone, we've already seen the attacking tendencies from Juventus that I expected to see. Unfortunately, we couldn't stop it. So, 10 minutes gone now. Here they come again. Pereira will pick the ball up in centre. Pereira advancing, he's got Lichtsteiner going outfield. And now we get to, again, Brivio missed the tackle. Mandzukic over the bar. So we are seeing Juventus attacking the way we expected them to, we just can't seem to stop them. So whether the trap is actually going to be successful or not, I think remains to be seen. Now Panilla's got a chance to counter. Chiellini gets the ball. We should have pushed up and taken that ball before it went out for a throw in, but there we are. Now Gomez with a free kick, puts it to the box. That was far too easy for Evra. Pogba wins the ball. Out to Zaza on the left hand side. Zaza's advancing. Being closed down. A flick back into Bartizio, into Lichtsteiner, and that's 1-0. 1-0 to Juventus after 15 minutes, and it's exactly where we expected the attack to come from. Lichtsteiner clipped the ball in, and it was Simon Zaza with the goal. So let's just rewind before I'm not going to do the 3D highlights if the quality is not great, but let's have a look quickly at our positioning here. Here we go. Lichtsteiner is supposed to be marked by Brivio. He had to come in field to mark Pogba, and then Diamante couldn't get back. In the middle, look at this overload. Pereira, Mandzukic, and Hernandez all on top of, who's the defender in there? Pallotta. Lichtsteiner crossing, Zaza at the back post. That was far too easy. So let's continue. We're going to continue the system as it is for at least the first half, maybe even the first 55 minutes, just to give it a chance to bed in and see what happens. We're just waiting for something to happen. There we are. Let's skip that. So, from the match stats already, you can see, just like against Milan, we're under pressure. 4 shots to Juventus. I'm not concerned. The 3 clear-cut chances out of 4 shots, I am concerned. That's showing that they're finding it far too easy to bypass our defensive block. Now it's a corner for Juventus. Pereira. Zaza off the post. Sportiello saves and it's back out for a corner kick. That was a huge let-off. Hernandez with the corner. Flicks the ball in, and this time we managed to clear, but only back to Hernandez. Back at the box again. Another header, another goal for Simone Zaza. So that's 19 minutes gone now. 20 minutes gone, and we're 2-0 down away to Juventus. Again, I'm not going to make any system changes just yet. I want to see a little bit more. Here we are, Conte in the attack, out to Gomez. A goal now would give us a chance to get back into the game. Hernandez takes the ball from him. Pogba takes it away from Conte too easily and finds Zaza. Gabriel Paletta has stepped right forward into the midfield area. Marquisio. Marquisio's going to look for the flick over the top. No, Pereira. Pereira now into Mandzukic, into Zaza, and that should have been a hat-trick, but he hit the bar. We're under huge pressure now. 25 minutes gone. Right, 25 minutes gone. I do normally pause and have a look at Prozone, so let's check things out a little bit. First thing we're going to look at is Juventus. Passes. We've already had 14 key passes. 14. So here we go, Juventus. The key passes, they are, again, you can see it, look, here we are. 37, who is Pereira. Pereira is managing to get the ball out to the wing into Lichtsteiner. Lichtsteiner is the one who is breaching our box more often than anyone else, so we need to find some way to manage him. Average positions, we should see, if we look at overall, again, it's quite odd. Lichtsteiner his average position is not that advanced. We're just struggling a little bit to pick them up. So let's have a look at ours. Both key passes. We don't have very many. We are having more luck down the side with Talisi and with Conte. But again, we're not actually bypassing into the box, into this area where we really need to be putting key passes into. Pinilla is very advanced, but he's looking quite isolated with Gomez, Talisi, and Diamante. Diamante is obviously a winger in support, so you'd expect Talisi further forward. It just shows how much we have been defending. Now, Darun is actually the more defensive of our 2 midfielders again because he's in the DM slot. Let's see, I might actually go into Darun. And let's see, now this is something that can be quite risky. Mark tighter, tackle harder, and we're going to tell him to actually push out onto Lichtsteiner as well. You shouldn't see Darun shadow Lichtsteiner, but you should see his average position move more towards the left-hand touchline where we're looking to defend more. Let's see if that has any impact. 2-0 down. 2-0 down with 25 minutes gone. And the game's playing on. Brivio with a throw-in. Gagliardini's going to have a chance to do something. He looked for Talisi, that was far too easy. Simone Zaza picks the ball up, and Toloi is there to defend it for us. Bonucci for Juventus. Back to Gianluigi Buffon. Buffon kicks it long, that should be easy for our defence. Conte should pick that up. Now Conte. Talisi. Talisi to Gagliardini, should look for Darun. No, Gomez, and that was easy again. Darun. We're being far too sloppy in possession. Mandzukic now through the centre with a good chance to run in. Zaza, good tackle. Now Evra on the left hand side being covered by 2 defenders. That ball should never have been allowed to come in. Hernandez to Pogba. Pogba to Mandzukic. Mandzukic Sportiello with a save. Sportiello's actually been in great form, otherwise this could be 3 or 4-0 already. Now half an hour gone. Lichtsteiner with a throw in back to Bonucci. Bonucci into Marquisio to Pereira. Pereira. Mandzukic. Mandzukic to Zaza. Now, well done, Gomez got back in there. And that should be where Piniella is winning the ball as opposed to Monachello. That's why Piniella's in this team, but he couldn't win the ball there from Chiellini. Simone Zaza, Mandzukic, Sportiello again with the save. And that's another corner for Juventus. So half an hour gone now. We're under huge pressure. I'm still not changing anything structurally. I'm going to give it a little bit more time. I want to see how it evolves, and whether the change that we made with Darun man marking out wide will actually have an impact. Here's Paul Pogba into Marquisio. Zaza, Mandzukic, good tackle, and Talisi gets it clear for another corner. We are defending a little bit better. I'm not sure if I should perhaps be dropping my defensive line back a little bit. That is an option. There's Pogba heading the ball wide from the corner, and on the game goes. Lichtsteiner, look at the freedom he's got to attack, into Mandzukic. Mandzukic running 3. Pereira's going to pick the ball up, into Zaza. Sportiello again. Without Sportiello, I hate to think what the score would be so far. Now, Conte. No highlight there. Lichtsteiner is maybe going to get just warned. He is quite a dirty player, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was booked. 39 minutes gone. We're approaching half time now. Approaching half time. 41 minutes, 42 minutes. Here we are back again. Talisi to Conte. Gomez, but we lost the ball. See, we're not building up very well. We're not being effective in our build-up play. Zaza, that shot was blocked. Conte will get the ball before Evra, and it's out for a throw-in. It's half time. Atalanta can't handle Zaza. Well, you're right, can't, to be honest with you. Assertively, I'm not happy with your performance. You were awful out there. A few of the players are looking frustrated. This will fire them up a little bit. Darun is looking nervous. I'm going to make a change now to our mentality. We're actually going to look at more of a counter and see if it has any impact. And we are also going to look at our rules. Here we are, instructions. I'm going to drop the defensive line from where it was, slightly deeper. We're not going to use the offside trap. We're just going to look to contain the 2 strikers for Juventus. And that'll do for now. Let's get the second half started. Now there is scope in the second half for our system to change completely, to be honest. I'm not happy with what we're seeing at the moment. This is obviously Juventus that we're playing, so it was always going to be a very hard game. I just thought it would be interesting to see if we could build a pressing trap into the game. As I say, it's worked for me before, but maybe against lesser opponents and with stronger teams. And I have Atalanta, and obviously Juventus are one of the strongest teams in the game. So here we are with Juventus pressing forward straight from the off. Pereira into Zaza, and that's blocked. Blocked by Conte. Conte again has had a very solid game defensively for us. Yet another corner for Juventus. Hernandez, the Brazilian, will take it in towards Mandzukic, but he missed the ball. He fouled over players too, so that's a nice free kick for us to build. We've actually had more possession than Juventus, which is surprising me a little. 2 shots, none on target. We're really struggling, to be honest with you. So we're now approaching the point where I would look to make changes to the system. 52 minutes played. They're still in control and flexible. Here's a chance for us to build. Darun. Gomez should move out wide. Diamante. Oh, Diamante. He flicked that ball on with his head. Obviously it must have been a bad pass out to him, but it's really not helping us get anywhere, is it? Paletta. Pogba. Pogba with the ball. Into Marchisio. Now let's have a look at our defensive structure. For some reason, this doesn't normally happen. Normally when you instruct the midfield to man mark a wide player, you'll see him more in this area. Instead, Darun is actually standing on Lichtsteiner, which has given us a weakness here. It's not something I've seen very often, so let's just see how that plays out. Perea. De Roon's been left behind. Perea into Zaza. That's another save. Okay. I think now we're going to have to make a change. Let's pause that there. We're going to go into our tactics overview. The Anchorman's not working. The press and trap isn't working, so let's be a little bit more adventurous and see if we can do something when we have the ball in the more advanced positions. I'll leave Diamante as a winger support, but I'll move him forward. De Roon is now actually going to make way. He's going to make way for Carlos Carmona. Carlos Carmona is, let's just get his profile up for you. He's a quite defence-minded player. Here he is. Chilean player, 28 years old, very highly valued actually. He's a good tackler, very aggressive, bravery, fitness, stamina, everything you would expect from there. And we're actually going to move him back to the centre midfielder at defend GT as we had before. Everything else we're going to stay as is at the moment, apart from to change Conte. Let's give Conte a bit more freedom to go forward since he is actually one of our better players. Let's get the match started again. Here we are, 56th minute, and that's our first system change. And now we're going. Conte is the throw in again. Too easy. Evra, Gagliardini. Conte. Now Conte can cross. Talisi's there. Talisi's there. Talisi's. Talisi missed a glaring opportunity. That would have turned the game for us. As you can see, it was a clear-cut chance. Okay. 67 minutes gone now. It's time to make a change in the attacking line. Benil has done nothing for us. Monachello is going to come on. He will stay as advanced forward, I think. I think that's for the best at the moment. Let's just confirm sub. That's second substitution made. Now if we could get a goal back, this could go either way right now. Cuadrado's come on, and he's playing a centre forward attack position. Cuadrado's a very tricky player. Normally he would play in this area here, and he is a nightmare to defend against. Hopefully though, as a centre forward attacker, we won't actually see too much danger from him, not at least any more than we saw from Zaza, whose 2 goals have obviously given Juventus this game. 80 minutes gone now, we're struggling to build. Header away. Let's get it away against Raro. Raro, back to Pogba. Pogba could shoot, he does. Now we're going to go up the mentality ladder now to control. Then we're going to go up it again now to attack. Evra with a throw in on the left hand side. Perea. Perea centrally to Lemina. Lemina clips it forward in that area now. Paletta should have been shadowing Mandzukic more effectively there, but he let Mandzukic run beyond him. Perea now with the ball. That's a good tackle from Carmona, showing why we took him on. Monachello gathers the ball. That's better than we saw from Pinilla. Talisi now on the right hand side. Flicked into Monachello. Is it going to be a chance here? Monachello. Oh, Buffon. Buffon is obviously one of the best goalkeepers in the game as well, despite his age. So, no real surprise that we're struggling to break him down a little bit. Diamante. Easily cleared. We should be gathering that ball instead of letting it roll slowly out. But there we are. 85th minute now. We've been dominated. Let's be honest here. We have been dominated, not in possession, but in terms of shooting. They have had a lot more of the ball, a lot more chances than us, and we have really struggled to put anything together. 2 minutes of injury time. We may get one more chance. I'd quite like a goal. I don't like losing without scoring at least. Hopefully this will refute any impressions that any of you have that I am an expert in any way at this game. I lose as much as anybody else, and I usually lose when I'm being a little bit creative tactically just to see what happens. Here's Paletta to Carmona, Carmona out to Conte, to Lisi. Talisi flicks the ball over the top towards Monachello, but Bonucci, one of the best defenders in the world, is right there. Mario Lemina, a French player. Now that's better from Paletta. That's what we expect to see the last time, but he allowed Mandzukic to run the channel beyond him. Sturaro to Perea, into Mandzukic, it's blocked. Lemina now. Again, that's an easy for Sportiello. Sportiello has been comfortably our best player. I don't think we can doubt that at all. And now we're just playing up to the 92nd minute really. We're not going to see much else happen, so let's have a look while they're still playing at the analysis. Lichtsteiner. We're interested in Lichtsteiner. We're interested in his passes. Only 3 key passes in the game. Oh, that's full time. Before we do this, let's go back and do what we were just doing. So we're looking at Lichtsteiner. We're looking at his key passes. Key passes are one of the biggest stats for me to check. It gives you a good idea of how a player is performing. Let's have a look at his movement. Did he manage to dribble? My cursor keeps disappearing. Here we are. Dribbles. See, now, from what we saw, first half especially, the first 25 minutes, first half an hour, Lichtsteiner looked like one of the most dangerous players on the field. Instead, we have managed to nullify his dribbles as threat down the wing. They scored 2 early goals, but maybe the changes that we made did actually prevent this. But looking now, let's have a look at Pereira. Pereira's key passes, 19 key passes. That is a lot. It's the kind of thing that I expect to see from my players when we're doing well. And as you can see, Pereira was all over the pitch, spraying the ball around. If I'd been more thorough, instead of concentrating on Lichtsteiner and concentrating on nullifying Juventus, I might have noticed this. I might have made some change. As you can see, he is slipping the ball into the box with these key passes. So Pereira had a very, very good game. Okay, let's go back to where we were. Continue post-match analysis. That puts us down to 5th place so far. There's a lot of teams still play the second game. Again, it's not a huge surprise that we have struggled a little bit there. Let's look at the match stats. 5 clear-cut chances for Juventus, 1 to Atalanta. That was Talisi's chance right in front of goal, which he messed up. Their headers won, beat ours. Their tackles won, were more effective. Passes completed, they were more effective. They had 11 corners. 23 shots to our 5, so we were well and truly dominated against Juventus, and let's face it, that is not entirely a surprise, especially not so early in the first season. By this point next season, I would expect us to be much better placed to actually challenge Juventus properly. Let's have a look quickly at the schedule. I'm aware the last 2 videos that I've done have been quite lengthy, so I'm hoping to cut them down a little bit just to make them more accessible, really more than anything else. So our next game is at home to Fiorentina in 2 weeks after the international break. I'm actually not going to come back though until I think we may live com the home game with Lazio. So I'm going to play all of these matches through and then come back to Lazio. So the next episode we will have a rundown of everything that's happened so far. And then we will do a live com of the Lazio match at home. Hopefully we'll have recovered from that absolute beating that we just took at the hands of Juventus. And until then, though, I'm going to leave you. If you do like what you're seeing here, then please subscribe to the channel. Please like the videos, and please get in touch with me either on Twitter or via the comments at the bottom of this video, and just leave me your feedback. Just let me know what you like, what you don't like. Let me know what kind of things you might like to see, and I may be able to incorporate that into future episodes. I really do value any feedback that you guys can give me, but thanks very much for taking the time to view. I really appreciate it. Bye.